Okay, hello. Today I'm talking about the Xbox One X versus the PS4 Pro, and which one you should buy, why you should buy it, and general impressions. So I've had the Xbox One X for about 6 months. I've had the PlayStation 4 for about 2 months, one to 2 months. Let's talk about me for a minute. My first console was a PS2 Slim, and then I upgraded to an Xbox, and then I upgraded to an Xbox 360, and then an Xbox One S, and then finally an Xbox One X. But I needed exclusives, and Sony in their infinite wisdom has a really great, that's just a great catalog of exclusives that I absolutely had to play, specifically Spider-Man. So I said, okay, how much is a PS4 Pro right now? And the answer was about $520. Oh, so I bought it, and I like it. We're going to start talking about it first because it's the newest, and you should hear some things about it that PlayStation 4 owners don't want you to know, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So first problem with PlayStation 4 Pro is it's a chunky beast. So in the size comparison, this width is much wider than this, and it's ridiculous, and it should not be this large. The PlayStation 5 is going to be even larger, which is fine for ventilation and everything, but it's nonsense. And that's it. Problem number 2. So you can only plug in one external hard drive at a time, and that is dumb. I don't see why I can't plug in up to 2 drives like I can do with the Xbox One X. So now when I want to switch between a solid state 4 terabyte or 2 terabyte or whatever, instead of using a USB hub and just plugging them both in or plugging them in directly into the console, I can only use one at a time, and that's dumb. Problem number 3, it has to be plugged directly into the console. You can't plug it into a USB hub. It doesn't work. I don't know why. USB hubs are perfectly capable of doing a 3.0 data stream through it. It's just something Sony has done, and it's dumb, and I don't like it. Problem number 4. Am I on 4? I'm on 4. Let's talk about the controller. So it's got an internal battery that's rechargeable. And hey, more power to you, but personally, I want my rechargeable batteries to be external, and I can swap them out, because when the battery in this thing dies, I don't want to have to find a replacement lithium battery and then open up the controller and replace it myself. It's immediately too much hassle, and it makes the controllers disposable and worthless, and I dislike it immensely. Let's talk about controller charge time. So my new controller that came with this lasts about a day, depending on how heavy I'm using it in game, and that's dumb. It should last longer, and it shouldn't take as long to charge. So right now I have one good controller, and then I bought 2 refurbished controllers for $40 a piece from GameStop, and I switch them out so that I can keep playing without having to worry about charging. What do I like about the PS4 controller? I love that touchpad at the top. That's great. That little mouse mimicking, so cool. Does it need to be that wide? No. Could it be smaller? Yes. I like the share button. That's pretty neat. I can just share a clip or a video recording. Very cool. The sticks and the buttons and the D-pad and the triggers all feel great. I enjoy them all. Very comfortable controller. What else do I love about the PS4 Pro? Their exclusives are so good. Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man, I picked it up for $20 for the DLC, and with the DLC included. I've easily gotten 500 and, well, what am I at with all the peripherals and the hard drive upgrade? I'm closer to $1,000 with all my accessories and the hard drive, the SSD upgrade I did, and the first party exclusives that I bought. I'm closer to $1,000. And I feel like I've gotten all of that value just in Spider-Man alone, because I love a Spider-Man game. Everybody loves a Spider-Man game. nobody dislikes a Spider-Man game. They're just so good. And you get like 30 suits, closer to 40 suits with the DLC. And that's one of the reasons you play a Spider-Man game, for the costumes. They're so good. Is it missing a symbiote Spider-Man suit? Yes, it is. And does everyone want that in the next game? Yes, we do. But from an exclusive standpoint, I got that. I got God of War 3. I got Uncharted Trilogy, The Last of Us Remastered, Yakuza 0 through 6, 5, 0 through 5 or 6, Neo. So some great games that I'm looking forward to playing. And the PlayStation Now subscription that I bought, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So I've talked about, I love the controllers, I love the first party exclusives, I love the fact that when I power off the PS4, it is actually off, and it's not powering anything through the USB ports. When I turn off the Xbox One X, it's still sending power to the USB ports, which is a problem because that's where I'm hooking up all my hard drives, and I want it to turn off everything. I don't want them to just spin for no reason. What else do I love about the PS4 Pro? I love the... I think I'm reaching the end of the loves. The dashboard's okay. It's not terrible. Well, it is terrible, and I'll tell you why. So, it's really dumb that I can make a folder with all of my games I want to play in it, but I can't do the same thing for applications like YouTube or Prime Video. So ideally, you would have one folder with all of your applications and your video games in it, and you can just navigate through there and open whatever you want to play. In reality, you have to go all the way to the end of your bar to the library, open up the library, navigate to applications, and then open YouTube or Prime Video or Hulu or whatever. And that's dumb. And there should be a software update to fix that, because that's just stupid. On the Xbox One X, when you make a folder for your apps or whatever, you can just dump apps and games in there willy-nilly, whatever you want. So be better, Sony. Is that it? I think that's it for the PlayStation 4 Pro. Those are all my gripes. Unless I come up with some while I'm talking about the Xbox One X, and then I'll just jump back over to it. Alright, Xbox One X. What do I have to say about you? I think you're great. And I'm not going to be upgrading anytime soon to the Series X, because you have everything I need right now. The backwards compatibility is excellent. I have 200, 300 Xbox 360 games that are compatible that I'm playing, because I have the games, I just haven't gotten around to playing them yet. So I'm still working through the back catalog. It works so good. And it's running emulated, so if it crashes, I can just quit it and then reopen it. When you played some of these games on the old 360 and they crashed, you'd have to like hard reset the console, like turn it off, and you're kind of worried about, corrupting your internal hard drive when you're doing that. Like I was playing Spider-Man Web of Shadows the other night, and it froze. And then I turned it off, and you turned it back on, and the screen is still the same where it's frozen, and you're kind of worried something's broken. With the emulation of the 360 and the Xbox games, when it dies, it just says, hey, it took too long to respond, we had to close it, or it crashed or whatever. And then you just, not right click, you hit the start button on the game and hit quit, and then you can reopen it, it starts fresh, and you're good to go. Backwards compatibility is the main draw of the Xbox One, if we're being honest. There are some games that I love to play, and they're there. I can download them, install them digitally, and I don't have to worry about it. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about game services. So Game Pass versus PlayStation Now. So let's talk about Game Pass first. It's excellent, and you can play a whole lot of games, and you can download them for offline use. When I first got an Xbox One, I ended up, because my games library was so large from 360 to 1, I ended up taking the console to the library and hooking up to their Ethernet and downloading my back catalog and also the Games Pass games. And it took like a couple of days. I would go there and come back because it was around 2 or 3 terabytes of content. So if you have a data cap, that could be a problem. But for me, I just went to the library and used their free internet, and everything worked well. So Xbox One overall, very good. Could it be better? Yes. How would it be better? It could be a little more responsive, switching between things. It doesn't feel as fast as I feel like it could be if I was allowed to modify it with like a SSD internally. So maybe give us the option to pick a really fast SSD and use it. Maybe the Series X will fix that problem. Who knows? Let's switch back to the PS4 Pro for a second to talk about their Game Pass and also the hard drive. So I picked up a 1 terabyte hard drive, solid state, for the PlayStation 4 Pro. It cost about $120, and it's great because it was very easy to pull out the hard drive and install the new one and then dump the system over. All of that worked great. PlayStation Now, what they don't tell you, but what I found out after I had subscribed, and it makes me kind of irritated, is not all of their games are downloadable. So they have a certain number of games you can download for offline use. And then most of them are, PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 games that you stream. What this means is you need a pretty stable internet connection to play some of these games. And I find that irritating and frustrating because they control these games. So if they had just invested in a backwards compatibility program at the get-go, we could have already had these games, or they could have made remasters and made them available. But instead, they have this deceptively large catalog on PlayStation Now, and you don't find out until you're going in to play, Killzone HD or God of War, the God of War franchises. 90% of those are streaming only, which is obnoxious. Having said that, you could play Spider-Man or Control, and you could download those, and that was a good time, and I enjoyed those immensely. So PlayStation Now, you're doing okay, just get better. What else do I want to talk about for PlayStation Now? That's it. I think it was $60 for a year subscription. It seems reasonable for the amount of games you can play, especially depending on the exclusivity of the titles. Can't complain about that. What do they need to bring to the exclusive list for PlayStation Now? Horizon Zero Dawn. That would be awesome. Also, any of the Mafia games. And now let's talk about the Gold. So, Xbox Live versus PlayStation Plus. So, you have to pay for both of them, which is fine. Xbox Live Gold is great because the games you download you get to actually keep. Whereas with PlayStation Plus, if you ever let your membership lapse, you can no longer access the free games they give you. Another benefit of the Xbox over the PlayStation 4 for this is they give you an Xbox 360 game. You get 4 games. You get you get 2 360 games, and you get 2 Xbox One games. Which, depending on how large your library is, that's a good thing or a bad thing. I usually have most of the games that they're giving away. But it's nice. That's how I got Shadow Warrior, which is an excellent game and everyone should play it. It's like Doom, only with swords, along with guns. It's so much fun. And where was I going? I just got lost on Shadow Warrior. Shadow Warrior 1 and 2 are excellent games and you should play them. And now let's talk about, what are we talking about? I think I'm done. Overall, Xbox is my go-to platform for any third-party or first-party exclusives because it plays them reliably. It's faster and better than the PlayStation 4 Pro in terms of what it can output in terms of 4K. I don't have 4K, but when I get 4K, it's going to be better on that. And I'm used to it and I'm comfortable with it. And with the Acronis Zen, if I want to use a different controller, I can, and I will. The PlayStation 4 Pro is amazing for its exclusives, and I will continue to play it and love it and everything about it. Oh, let's talk achievements. We're talking about achievements now. So the Xbox One's achievements are much more satisfying. When I unlock something, a banner appears at the bottom, and you can pick how long you want it to show up, whether or not you want it to make a sound, which I do, and then it tells you what you did and how you got it. So nice. What does PS4 Pro do? It shows up in the top left-hand corner. As far as I can tell, I can't change where it shows up, and it takes this obnoxious screenshot of me unlocking the achievement, and it's usually me just standing somewhere. It's not a cool achievement picture like on the Xbox that I can set as my my wallpaper. It's just like, oh, I'm standing here in a cutscene, and this is where I was standing when the little trophy popped up. So overall, not impressed with trophies, and I don't feel incentivized to get trophies. They just don't feel good. And I don't have in the Xbox One, you have a good place where you can see this is how much gamer score you have, here's how you compare to your friends, here's just comparing it one-on-one, how awesome you are this month. And I just don't get that with the PlayStation 4 Pro. I'm sure it's in there somewhere, but the Xbox One just has it hands down. And then the last thing we want to talk about is money. So the beauty of Microsoft is the Microsoft Rewards program, which allows you to do daily searches in Bing, the second most popular search engine, LOL, and they give you free money essentially to spend in their store, and that's how I've bought most of my video games, and you can also use it to redeem memberships. So the Xbox Live Ultimate, I actually redeemed through their store for Xbox points with the Microsoft Rewards. And so you can earn up to, usually it's about 300 points a day. So you can search in the browser, and then you get 170 points for searching in the browser in Edge, and you get another 100 points for searching on your phone. And so that gives you about 300 points a day, which is the equivalent of like 30 cents. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but 30 cents over 30 days is like $9. And you also get extra points for completing the same number of tasks every single day. So I've earned like $500. I've been with Microsoft Rewards for about 2 or 3 years, and I've earned about $500, and I just spend that money and I dump it right back into their ecosystem and buy games and buy memberships so that I don't have to spend actual money on my online, which is silly. PlayStation doesn't have anything like that. They need it. They tried to do it when they were giving people money for platinuming games, but people immediately started platinuming games like nobody's business, and then they were losing a ton of money, so they stopped doing it. But they need a rewards program. I don't know what they would use it for. I don't know what they're doing. But the only rewards program I'm aware of is for their credit card, and if you buy Sony DVDs, you can redeem points that way. But their point structure is really, it's okay. It's not amazing. And you only get points, you get 5 times the amount of points if you purchase games in their store with the credit card, or you get 1 times the amount of points anywhere else. So it's basically like an Amazon card where you get 5 times the number of points for shopping at Amazon and 1 time everywhere else. So it's really hard to get into their rewards program, especially since the main way of getting points is buying games, because I was going to be using those points that they give me to buy more games. So it would be better for me if I had points for doing simple stuff, sharing to social media or whatever. If I got points for doing that every day with PlayStation, and then I could buy games, that would be useful. Also, it would help cut down on all of these free-to-play games, because if people have more money in their pockets, they're more likely to buy games, and that kind of helps de-incentivize games like, Fortnite or Warzone and Apex Legends, which are great games, I'm sure. Never played them, not interested. But I feel like we need to Microsoft has built a path for people with no money to get invested in their ecosystem, and PlayStation is not. So that's all my thoughts on the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro. You can put your comments down below and tell me why I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong. And also, you're wrong. And that's it. Welcome to the community. Bye.